our blogs, yeah.
So if you're not here for a meeting, then people can go on and look at the videos. So that's a new technology piece we're doing. I think there was like 2 people who came in, but we were collecting money for shirts tonight. It's $20. Next week will be officially the last.
Yes, next meeting.
Yep, October 7th. Next meeting, yep. And just tell us your size and $20 name in an envelope or a sticky.
Whatever. And if you have to write a check, just write it out to me. I'll write my name on the board. I know some people already have done that. That's fine too. So.
And if you have money throughout this next 2 days, just find one of us and we'll get it to the right person. So don't hesitate if you're thinking, should I wait to the meeting? Get it to us because she can make a mass order for T-shirts that get them as soon as we can.
Okay.
Go over there because I want to take a
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, I got a post.
Ready? Oh, this was just a little bit while everyone was coming in, just the topic that we're going to be talking about tonight. This is just a little quote that I found that just kind of explains how management works in the classroom. You can read that, I don't need to read that to you, but it just pretty much maintains the classroom environment, keeps all the kids, come in, keeps like in a safe environment. Here, you're not trying over here.
I went to DC's.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so that's that.
Okay, so we just want to start off basically what we think classroom management is. So it's effective discipline, it's being prepared for class, motivating your students, providing a safe, comfortable learning environment, building your students' self-esteem, and being creative and imaginative in daily lessons.
Okay, so as always we have like the book of the meeting. So this, the book of the meeting this week is Have You Filled Your Bucket Today? Which, how many have heard of this? Okay, I figured this was kind of popular. This pretty much goes through, there's like little things you can do throughout the day in the classroom that can build like your self-esteem, you know, everything along with that. So she's going to show you a classroom management that incorporates this book every day.
Okay, so I found this on Pinterest, and
I'll pass around the book.
basically every kid has their own little bucket, and then they have like the little fuzzy balls, and the different colors represent different things. And I can't read, it's really tiny up here, what each means, but it would be like sharing, kindness, different things like that, and then each color represents a different thing. And then what I thought was really cool was at the end of the week, they would take all the students' buckets and put it together in a whole classroom bucket. So then not only is the single child getting rewarded, but the whole class is going to get a reward when they fill the whole bucket, which I thought was really cool. And then this is just another way to display the buckets if you can't hang them that way.
That's like just a shoe holder.
Yeah,
so you
they're
can go to like the
super
dollar
cheap.
store and just.
The ones you probably have behind your doors?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the buckets, I know I bought them in the past for projects at the Target dollar spot. They always have them. Right now they have like cute little Halloween ones and stuff, so you can always find those for good deals. And check Goodwill, because Goodwill always gets Target's leftovers, like their clearance. So I got buckets like that for like half off at Goodwill recently too. So always be checking there.
All right, so you guys, a lot of you guys are juniors, so you'll have your Nelson's class this semester, and you'll learn a lot about behavior charts and why they're not the best and why most people are trying to stay away, so taking them off of your wall. And this was a blog that I had found. If you guys want to jot this down, she had a ton of stuff on her. I was on it for an hour, but I was like just trying to focus on classroom management and not going past it. But she had a ton, and this is her just for this blog itself. So she had a lot to do, and she went into detail, but why she doesn't think that behavior charts should be in classrooms anymore. So she actually explains why, which I really, really liked. So this is one of her quotes from her website regarding behavior charts, and she said, "I really felt as if I was quick to just call people out and then have them go pull their card. Someone was talking while I was talking. I gave them a warning, and then they had to pull their card. they had to do the walk of shame over to the wall, and their card had to be in my yellow pocket chart for the rest of the day. But did I really give that child a fair chance to explain why they were talking? Simply stated, no. I would have had a conversation with them after, but the emotional damage and embarrassment was done, and that was starting to kill me inside. And then to post it on the wall for everyone to see just seemed unfair. So they started focusing on the rules more, and she made these great classroom rules, and they made that the main focus of their day. And every day they would stand behind their chairs, and they would go over the rules, and they never missed a day. And this is a video I took of my kindergarten class. We are allowed to share it with you guys because we all signed the confidentiality agreements. So this is just the rules they did. I hope the sound works. Do I have to do anything?
Let's just make sure.
This is the cutest thing ever.
So
She came to tell me about it when it was happening, and I'm just picturing these little kids. I said, you have to get a video.
So
Okay.
she did.
So
Cute.
each week they would choose like the helper of the week or the star of the week, which is this little boy up here. And she said in the beginning of the year she started by doing this, and then once they got independent enough, it was an all student ran rule. So it's like be a caring friend, and they do motions. Rule number 2. And then it's follow directions quickly. Listen when somebody's speaking. Raise your hand to speak. Always do your best work. So they did that every morning. I just thought it was the cutest thing. And it's like, the kids are throwing up their numbers. And yeah, I think that's cute. And having like the motions to go along with it that they can kind of relate the two together. So something also that she had that I loved was she would take, so if say you're doing a shared reading and all the students are just on the ground, they're thanks students, so they're doing that. You don't have to go on your ground, you can stand. But she would be reading her book, and as she would see somebody, so Tessa was talking to somebody else, I would just say, as a teacher, Logan, I love how you're being so quiet, thank you. So that, not directly saying, Tessa, don't talk, you're saying, Logan, thank you for
Do you have to give the sunglasses to her?
No.
Okay.
But it was, what she used is this little fish, and they passed this little fish. Sorry, I didn't bring my fish today. Forgot it. But, and then, so, I don't know, Kate starts standing up and jumping. I could go, Logan, could you please pass those sunglasses to Tessa for sitting applesauce? So just explaining the behavior you want and going right towards the... So it's also a positive reinforcement, so hopefully that kid can be like, oh wait, I need not do that. So. And then I also found this about it, which in her classroom, the teacher, Jennifer, I believe was her name, she would then send a communication home to the parents, like a letter. But she made it very clear that this does not mean your child's in trouble at all. It just was stating what they had talked about today. So you would just, put their name, whatever, and the parents do have to sign, but all you would do is circle the rule that you talked about. And you could write a little note there, or maybe the parent could write a little note back. I thought that was a kind of cool thing, so a parent could see, okay, that's the rule that my child needs a little help on, and maybe they see something at home that they do the same way. Yep.
This kind of goes along with the behavior chart. So say they take a card and they switch to red, then they get a letter sent home and it's like, your child was talking while I was talking, and then that's just like a negative aspect as to what went on during the day. Mm-hmm. So I think by this, it's instead of and it's embarrassing to other students when they're like, okay, take your letter home to your mom or dad to have it signed, and it's it just continues throughout the day. It could have happened earlier this morning that they got the red card, and then at 3:30 they bring it up again and they send it home. So I think this is just more of positive way to do it. Just say, oh, this is the rule we talked about. Take it home for mom and dad. Show them and bring it back instead of just the red sticking out all day long.
And we learn a lot about, like, you don't know what goes on at home. So you're a safe environment for those students. So if you would send that home with a big red thing that your child was on red, you don't know what could happen to that child, what a parent might do. So they might not get dinner. The circumstances could all be different. So this, when she showed, was like really ideal.
I like it. And then another thing that I said was the do-over approach, which this was not from this website, but I think she had cited it in hers. But she said, instead of just saying, well, I don't know what you were doing, instead of talking to people, don't talk to people while you're sitting there. It would ask them, like, well, what are we supposed to be doing right now? How could you do that differently? Or, saying, I hate you, I don't want to do this. What's another way we can say that? So then they just said the ideal approach. So you respond to this immediately, which I think a lot of people don't do. So you would have a child, who's not behaving at circle time, whatever. You say, go sit in your seat. Well, then 20 minutes later, when you're done with your circle time, you go over to approach the student and talk about what they did, and they're like, okay, I don't know why I'm here, because that was 20 minutes ago, and that's a long time. So I do think that's important. And then you just respond to the child, make eye contact, get down on their level, and then do the action-based do-overs. So have them try and work together as a team to how we could fix this problem, or what a better way was for that. And then I was talking to Dr. Bainum about her third graders, so I thought instead of myself sharing, I would ask Dr. Bainum if you would like to share.
Oh God, no.
About the child's written goals. I really like that.
I read this book when I was a beginning teacher called The 1 Minute Teacher. And it's very old, but the philosophy is really sound. And there's 4 aspects to it. And the book costs like $8 on Amazon. And there's really just 4 things you do. First is you help kids establish a goal. So every day in my 3rd grade, I would say to the kids, write a goal for yourself for this week. They would take an index card and they would write out a goal. Sometimes those goals were part of my classroom, sometimes they were part of what they just wanted to do for themselves. So sometimes they were goals that they had at home that they really wanted to own. Now, if I had a student that I really needed to have a particular goal, I'd say add this goal to your list too. Now, but we're talking about 2 goals. Goals might be, I'm going to say kind words when someone shares an answer. Or I'm not going to roll my eyes when one of my classmates answers a question. So their goals were very individualized. That we did on Monday. We rehearsed those goals. They rehearsed them. They went around to each other and rehearsed them. They would say, this is my goal this week. And their peers would go, oh, that's a good goal. Good luck with that. On Wednesday, we had another rehearsal and check-in of them. And the kids would keep these goals on their desk. So when I was teaching, just like we just heard Miranda say, where you might say something like, go to your seat, or, stop doing that. I never said those things in my classroom. I would say, remember your goal. Remember your goal. And even, honestly, if that goal wasn't on their list to sit quietly, they would think, I'm supposed to be doing this. So it was my teacher prompt phrase that was ubiquitous for lots of behaviors that helped students really to identify what they were doing. And then on Wednesdays, they would rehearse with each other again. They would go around to each other. I'd say, I'm going to give you a minute. Find a partner. Tell a partner what your goal is. Tell your partner how you're doing your goal. And high-five or congratulate your partner on working on that goal so far. And they would go through the room and celebrate. So part of the experience is that you identify a goal, that you rehearse a goal, that you celebrate a goal, and that you find a way to continue to support yourself through those goals. So that's the philosophy of this 1 Minute Manager. Also, you can tie into that the conference approach. So when students are struggling to meet a particular goal, doing what the idea approach is, where you might say, well, what else can you do? Or what are you going to do about that task? You can do that with peers, or you can do that with you. Sometimes students respond better with peers. So something called peer mediation is when you train students to say a few phrases to each other, like, that makes me upset. What else might you say instead? And the students turn to each other and say those phrases and practice those phrases. In my kindergarten, they couldn't practice those phrases. I had to tell them exactly what to say. I would have to say, I just hit you, and they would have to say, I just hit you. And I'd have to say, hitting is not good, and they would say, hitting is not good. I'm sorry, I forgive you. You give them all the language, because that's not oftentimes the language they might hear at home. Then by the time they're in a system and they understand goals and expectations, they're able to communicate that with each other. So through the conference approach, You don't say, what did you do wrong? You say, what are your goals? How are you going to fix that? It's a lot of questions.